Welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast. Here is Munir Al-Azouzi from easymedicaldevice.com. And today we'll open a new segment of the podcast where I want mainly to share the story or share the some information from some projects or some people that are working in the industry. And today I wanted to invite Ivan Perez Chamorro from MedBoard. So Ivan, welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast.
Thank you so much, Monir. Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be back here in the podcast.
Exactly, yeah, because we counted again. It was like 5 years and a half last time we had really you on the first episode of the podcast, so it was really great. And the idea of today, it's not the same as before, because before what we are doing is that we are sharing some kind of medical device regulatory knowledge and then try to share with people how they should do something, etc. But my idea was more about let's share also the story of some people that are working in the medical device field. So we have you today, but I hope to have also more people working for the medical device field, and that they are telling this. The objective is to tell your story, tell the story of the project, and maybe inspire other people to do the same what you are doing. So this is mainly the idea. But mainly, Ivan, I wanted to start maybe this discussion just to talk about the project that you are running, which is MedBoard, and then we can talk about you more a bit later. But can you just explain to us mainly the story behind MedBoard and what is MedBoard also?
Meet Alex. He needs to create an electronic instruction for use. With EasyIFU, he uploads the document and in just a second gets a QR code. The code is printed on the packaging and shipped with the product. The user receives it, scan it, and the IFU appears fast and always up to date. Simple, fast, paperless. EasyIFU, the smart way to manage your IFUs.
So yeah, thank you so much, Monir. So the story is it's a pleasure to be back actually after 5 years, and then we're still both running the
You are
business,
still here.
growing, and so on. So it's a nice catch up in this sense. So obviously, what we do at MedBoard is based on two principles: is how can we increase the knowledge access to people, and how we can increase the productivity of individuals. So we are all in one, automation and knowledge platform for regulatory, for clinical, for market and PMS. So we cover from regulatory intelligence, literature reviews, PMS, all in one, but as well research and a lot of information and data they can do through our platform. So the beginnings were in terms of that vision, right? So as I mentioned in the past, I used to work obviously within the companies, and I used to spend a lot of time repeating myself all the time the same information. So I think access to knowledge and information is a challenge. It was more obviously like 5, 6 years ago. And then there was another thing in me that I'm I tend to be very curious, creative. I like data and connecting data as well. And I've been doing that all my life. And one thing that, it was always with me is when I was a teenager, I had an injury, my Achilles tendon, that it was a chronic injury. I was misdiagnosed for 5 years, and then I have to stop, doing sports because it was already a very bad condition, and it still is. And the only problem I had there is the doctor didn't have access to information. So it just shows how important it is to have obviously access to information. So let's say that if the doctor would have had that access, I wouldn't have the injury, but I wouldn't be here as well. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's connecting the dots. So those are the two principles of what I like in terms of the MedBoard situation. So in terms of the evolution is we look into, well, I look myself into one second.
Take some water maybe if you want.
that we look into what would be the main problem. So one of the key things that really triggered me at that time is, I was advising to a CEO of a big company, and he said, "How can I clone you?" And I felt I was not doing nothing special. I was just the messenger or specific information that it was out there. So then it was when the UMDR it was about to be released. So we said, okay, let's start with something basic, how we can access to specific information for a regulation. So this is how we started with that vision of very long vision, because we always said that we have, and I wanted that. I wanted a big project for the next 10, 20 years. So I don't get bored, but as
Yeah.
well, we have enough work and enough, playground, to play with different type of, ideas and creativity in terms of delivering of products.
So mainly, so MedBoard, as we said, so I followed the project since nearly its beginning. I saw also the evolution. I remember that before it was like, if I want to look at the MDR, I can search specifically on the MDR. It makes also I click and I make some graphics of MDR articles, etc. So it was the beginning, and then we start to have more about the different regulation in all the world, and we have start. I mean, you are really growing the project as you mentioned. So, any now that you are looking at all those 5, 6 years back, so any challenges that you see on this kind of project? So, what was, if I can say, your biggest challenge, and you say, yeah, I didn't expect that, or something that really surprised you, maybe.
I think the biggest challenge it was to get the first customers for sure.
Okay.
One of the key things, and probably you had the same experience, is with that idea that we had about the EMDR navigation and so on. A lot of companies they said, yes, I love this, I will pay for this, but then a lot of them they didn't pay for it. So
Exactly.
when it was the right time to say, okay, we delivered this, you wanted this, they said, no, actually we don't need this, we need something else. I was like, okay, let's work on that. So I think that moment of pivoting and obviously to start the business, to build as well other brands that they use or platform and they can communicate with the others, it was very important. So I think like for us, the five first companies, it was the most important, moment. And at time, you remember Monir, that no one was talking about regulatory intelligence. No one was talking about
Yeah.
PMS and vigilance automation. No one was talking about, specific literature reviews processes. So we were ahead of the market. But, from my side, I could sense already that because the increase of the updates, the increase of, as well the requirements and the need for people to obviously to monitor and control that information, it will be very required in the future. So I would say that would be one of the key challenges. The other obviously is to hire
Okay.
the right people, and to work incredibly hard as well on that idea. So because you can work very hard on that specific vision idea, but you don't have obviously any assurance that you will have that success. But at the same time, I think what is very important, and this is something that we did very well, and now we have obviously 100 and nearly 150 companies that are using it, 97% retention, is to be close to the customer. So I always said any complaint or any request that we were nearly there, it will get closer to a better product. And this is what we kept doing for the last 5 years. So every complaint or every specific, feedback, okay, I need this, but I need something else. It will wire, through the team, and then we will say, okay, what can we develop next? And that's an incredibly, intense process to do over the last 5 years. But if I need to look back, the most important or the most challenging, it was to get the first customers, without doubt.
So how? So now you had your first customer, the first one. I think maybe you remember it, so you know who it is. What was your feeling of it's done? I have the first one. So what was your feeling there?
Yeah, so the first feeling was a bit of celebration, and I think we celebrated too soon because they
Okay.
would say, okay, from now, everything is going to be super easy. Well, we were months without any subscription because then, people were like more cautious or the market was not ready. Again, that's something that as an entrepreneur, you need to understand whether there is a market need and people are willing to pay for it. So that was a great feeling. Okay, someone wants to pay for that, sees the value. But obviously, I think the biggest part of the job is to evolve from that zero, to one. I think that's the key thing, So, but that's something I really enjoy is that creativity is to, that discovery of needs And we knew that we were starting with this EMDR navigation, but we were going to somewhere else. So we were looking for a big data platform as we are right now. We're looking for that, software and AI solutions as we are doing right now. But that was a moment that we thought, okay, we kind of like, oh, we made it. We had the first customer, but obviously, we didn't know that there was a lot of work after that. And I think the ignorance sometimes is good
Yeah,
because you
exactly.
focus only on the next steps. And then when you realize after like 1 year or 2 years, you say, oh, I walked so many steps. So I think that it's always to focus, to have a very intense focus on the next steps and what is important, to achieve to go towards that vision.
So did you had also this feeling, I don't know, but did you had also this feeling that you have a responsibility now? Somebody's paying for your service, so they give you some money. So now you feel like I should not deceive them. I should, even they call me at 3 in the morning, I should take the call and satisfy them. Like, I mean, I need to keep them, so I have some to do some extra work or some extra service for them.
Yes, absolutely. And I think one of the biggest fears as well is retention. Especially you spent or you invested yourself, for 1 year, 2 years, especially in the MVP phase or, the initial phase. And you think, okay, what if we don't do what they actually expecting and then suddenly we don't have customers? We will have obviously huge debt and at the same time we don't have a business to run. So yeah, we've done that, and I think that's built as well an incredible good culture in terms of like customer service. So it's like always to support. If everybody sees as well the customer stories, everybody's highlighting as well how supportive and the customer support that we do. Obviously, as we've been growing, everything is getting more stable. But as you can imagine at the beginning, you can imagine like, hey, I need this, but no, I need this as well. So you were like, okay, let's build this as well. Let's work on that specific part. So that's something that, in terms of especially when you build technology, because if you are more like a consultant, I had businesses for consulting, you give your services, but that's it. You get paid for those hours and so on. But when you invested heavily, not only yourself but as well with your team, uh, obviously you need to work knowing that you're going to have those customers in the future. At the same time, yes, that sense of responsibility and trust is something that I try to pass to my team. That the more customers we have, the more responsibility we have to have a great product and as well to keep delivering because we have that trust. And I think like we have 97% retention, which it just obviously builds on that key message from our side.
So you can you remind me at the beginning how much people you had on the team? Two, three, or what was the number?
Yeah, so we were like myself and then two founding members, Javi and Paulo. So two engineers, data scientists, and so on. So yeah, we were three, and still we are like above 10. But what we built as well is a very high efficient and lean. That's built as well on bootstrapping. Some people will say is the real raw adventure. Obviously, you risk, and then you build as well with that freedom as well to the products and as well to be close to the customer. I think one of the key things that I wanted from the very beginning is to spend my time with the customer, being as well, building those products rather than doing pitch decks, to raise money and, delaying as well to have that. One of the things I learned as well is the sooner you put a product in front of a customer, the sooner you're going to get that feedback or those critics or those, some thumbs up. So you can keep building on that. So I think that that's one of the key things, it's something that I would do, in the past better. I would just put, instead of trying to perfection the way it's like, okay, let's put it in there, let's get some feedback, and then let's keep working on that. We do now actively that. So we build some features, we get some feedback, and we keep refining as well on that. But we build on the bootstrapping, but as well highly flexible. Some people they believe that we are hundreds of people, when they see the platform and they don't see what is behind. But it's because we've been able to automate a lot of the task. So from getting the news to classify the news to classify as well different type of like processes, and with the boom as well with the AI as well, programming and so on has allowed us to be much more productive with the same key people that been for so many years with us. So the core people always we stay together, and I think that's one of the key, successes of this company.
Unearth the pulse of the MedTech world with MedTech Conf, a dynamic platform featuring global events on medical devices, biologicals, IVD, and pharmaceuticals. Stay informed, stay ahead, connect, share, and elevate your knowledge. Become an official sponsor. Make your event shine on the map. MedTech Conf, your key to the MedTech universe. Remember, the future is now, and it's at your fingertips with MedTech Conf.
So now, as we have these projects, you are growing the project. You were three founding members, and now you have to hire your first employee. You have to get money. How is this mix about managing the money coming and saying, I will have to hire somebody then to help me, but it will cost also money. So what was your thinking like, now it's time I need to hire somebody because now, yeah, we need to grow now.
Yeah, so the story is I started that myself, and then Javi Pablo, they are founding members. That means that they joined employees, after like 6 months, and Pablo after 1 year. So, uh, well, sometimes, like you do interviews, and it was a good feeling with Javi, and it was always the best decision ever because thanks to Javi, like we've been able to develop a lot of things. We complemented very well, myself more in the business, technical, product, and then he would be more in is it the CTO right now, so anything like technical from databases, software, and so on. So yeah, we did. So that was initially an internship. So I really liked him. I think he was an honest person. I think every time hiring people is, honesty and capabilities are the more important skills I'm looking for. And Pablo was the colleague from Javi in a university. So we already knew that there was good connection. Now from that moment, we had good hires and others that maybe they didn't work out, and it's been a matter of keep trying the aligning and having a good hiring process. I think it's something that I can learn from the past is to have a slower hiring process. That's what we're doing right now. Because in the past, maybe we hired too quickly and then we realized after like a few months, actually, this is not going to work. Like a relationship, it's not working for that person, it's not working for us, we need to do something.
Exactly, yeah. So in terms of growing a business like this one, so is it like you make a lot of marketing advertisement, or what was your strategy when you started to say, okay, now I have to give that to the public? So how did you start, and was it working, or do you think that things were more working than others? Or what was because it's an adventure, so you are starting this and now you say, how should I tell to the people that come and try it and give it a try? What is the channel, if I can say, to make this communication? So what was your strategy there?
I think one of the key things for bootstrapping is a real self-learning experience, and as well a learning experience in so many ways, right? So I think from our perspective, what we've been doing is learning from the very beginnings. So even I have myself obviously educated in a science, but as well business. There is nothing like creating your own company to realize that you have no ideas about so many things. So it humbles you. It's a very humbling experience. So I think one of the key things for us is in terms of the differentiation. We are very good, and everybody knows this, at great delivery. So we deliver products. We are all in one platform. Nobody has so many products integrated in just one platform as today. And we deliver very quickly. So for us, obviously, the product is a key differentiator of us. Customer service is a key differentiator of us. So we heavily invest on the product to keep obviously ahead of the game with any other alternative. But as well, what we do was to try to use more like social media and so on. But the way we've been growing, from the beginning until where we are right now is word of mouth. So as well, like for us, it's a great experience, and for me, personally, it's a great experience to be solving real problems with real customers. Okay. Sometimes when you have a lot of VC and so on, you have this bubble that you had a lot of investment, you just inflate as well the need and so on. And then after a few years, obviously, that disappears or it slows down a little bit. So I think like for us, it's been a learning experience, and we keep learning. And one of the key things when people join the company, I always say, do you want to learn? Because I think that's part of the journey in terms of the company.
Okay. And now, if you think now of those 5 or 6 years behind you, is there some moment or milestone where you said, "Oh, I would have done that differently," or "Here I made a mistake, and maybe this was." I mean, you need mistakes because if you don't make mistakes, it means that you are not trying, if I can say. But is there something I say here at that moment, maybe I should have done this instead of that, or would have done something differently?
I think retrospectively, looking back, I always like this proverb or this story like the Chinese farmer that the maybe story that you never know actually if a decision was actually good or bad, or the outcome after that is going to be good or bad. So I think it's very easy to go back and say, oh, that was very good to do that or not. Like there could be a decision, so, oh, we lost a deal, but then that company came back to us 2 years later with saying, we really want to work with you. We've seen how you've been growing. So maybe what it was a bad news, like 2 years ago, now it's a great news because now they want to use not only one service, all the services that we have. So obviously a lot of learnings. If I would have done something differently, in general, no, because I did the best that we could with the information that we had. But one thing that obviously is about hiring. So if like just getting those signs of the good hiring or the bad hiring sooner, I think that would be very important for any entrepreneur. But I don't know because as I said before, maybe something that look good then is bad in a few months or years time. So I like that we have a self-discovery journey and we keep growing. And as I said, we have a profitable business and so on. So we are proving to everybody that we are solving real problems. We are providing value because we are funded by companies, by our customers, and then that they have our trust or we have their trust to keep growing as well the company in that direction.
So, w- when you started this project, usually when we are an entrepreneur, we have some dreams and we have some vision and say it will look like that, we will do it like that. I mean, you have like a straight path. Do you find after 5 years, 6 years, it was a straight path, or it was really like going up and down with a lot of shaking moments, etc.? Yeah,
Oh, yes, I think it's a total, roller coaster in terms of what you think in your head it was going to work, it doesn't work. What you think is actually bad, actually is what people want, and so on. In terms of the vision, we haven't changed. The access to information, and as well in terms of the productivity of the processes. I remember one of the first slides I put to Javi and Pablo is, could we just be the mini Google of this area?
exactly.
So we've been building on that. Obviously, we cannot do in a generalist aspect, but we can just focus on medtech, pharma, and that is specific area we can retrieve a lot of information because at the same time we are able to classify information, connect information much faster. At different type of metadata and different AI processes. So I think for us we had the same vision, but it changes totally. And I think every entrepreneur, especially you building a product, you need to be flexible and you
Exactly.
need to be open that they're going to criticize your baby. And you need to see that they are criticizing your baby for that baby to grow. So I think it's very good. For example, we thought the UMDR navigator, that you mentioned before, it was going to be like huge, and it wasn't. People were asking, oh, what about the PMS information? Or like, oh, we didn't think about it, so let's work on that. So I think it's important to have a vision, but as well to be quick in pivoting or to understand, things can change very, very quickly. And we understand as well as we grow and we've seen the type of evolution as well with AI and so on. Everybody has to be, very attentive in terms of like how the market reacts, what are the real needs. And I think that's one of the true, values of being a bootstrapping is you can actually solve real problems and then you can see the transaction. If they don't pay for that, you don't provide value.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, as you said, yeah, some people are maybe having this mindset of, oh, I will create my company, I will be an entrepreneur, I will start a project. Um, as you said, we have to be flexible. So, I suppose that for people that are have a want to have a perfect vision of the project and want to plan everything from A to Z, etc., it's maybe not a good fit to start such project?
I think you need to be highly flexible, but sometimes you need to be very stubborn because you believe actually that's something that is going to work. So it's a balance in many ways. What I would say is obviously it's always about the vision and then building on that vision on that direction. But you need to be you need to be flexible, but sometimes you need to actually go against the crowd and say, no, actually, like for example, regulatory intelligence. People say, why were you doing systematic reviews for regulatory intelligence? And now everybody's asking for that. They love, having the actions, and they actually are talking to other companies because they love, how we did it. So if we have stopped that, we wouldn't have that. So as well, it depends. Sometimes you need to make your bets in terms of like what you think, the market is gonna need. And at the end, we are helping real people. So the people will tell you, is this helping me to be faster or more productive, to have higher satisfaction as well. So that's one of the things that we always, follow, in terms of our customers as well.
Okay. So tell me more now about you, because it's also important that for people to understand what's your daily life, if I can say. I will not ask you to do to describe me every day, part of your day, but in terms of working hours, if I can say, mainly because we have also this, I mean, even me or some people have this mindset to say, I will be my own boss. So I can wake up when I want, I can go on holidays when I want, I can work when I want, etc. So what would you like to say to people that have this kind of thinking?
I think obviously when you build in a company, the first years are very, very intense. And especially you're building something big. Um, one of the things that I learned with time as well is to be more flexible. One of the things as well for me, and I think it's very important for any entrepreneur, is if you work on something that you like, actually those hours are gonna just fly in very, very quickly.
Exactly.
So, and I think everybody's gonna have different type of reflections in jobs where they were counting, the hours to live that work, and others where time was flying. So if you build something, it has to be on that spectrum because remember everybody's going to work on this for the next 5, 10, 15 years, and it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Obviously the first years when we discussed that this is very challenging, you then customers blah blah, you're trying to pivot as soon as possible. You need to work very long hours, and that's part of the risk investment as well, because you will get the return in the past. I think as you get more stabilized as well, what is important is to have that balance. Obviously, during the week, myself personally, I work long hours, but then weekends, Saturdays for me is always off. I always had like hiking, adventures, sports. Saturdays, Sundays more for planning. I'm a creative person. That's what I like. What I do because I like to create. I used to do paintings, many other creative activities. And Sunday is my, quiet time, especially after lunch. I can spend my time, designing or building, what's going to work, with the platform next steps, for the next, 6 months, 1 year, and beyond. So I think in terms of the balance, what I believe as well, and I don't know if that's the same for you, it goes like waves. So sometimes you are highly productive, you can work more hours. So I tend to surf those waves when I work and I feel I'm more productive. If, for example, because we are not robots, right? So sometimes you kind of say, okay, I'm gonna go 9 to this time, and then every single day is gonna no every day is the same. So I tend to find that balance as well in terms of like when I feel I'm highly productive, when I'm more not that productive, and then I need to be more let's say disciplined with myself. Well, I wouldn't force myself very much. So and I make a big differentiation between myself, the founder, and the shareholder, than the rest of the people, employees, and so on. So not sending emails over the weekend, just everybody just to be focused, because I think at the end, it's about having a very highly productive and intense focus. So if you have those hours, you can just get a lot of things, produced. So, for myself, like some days, they will be like, very long hours. Maybe others, they will not be. So it just, it travels. But for my side, what I believe is we are traveling, we're doing a marathon. So, for me, if we're doing a sprint and everybody's worn out and everybody, it has, no good, health, we are not going to be there, in the future. So I think it's very important to have that, highly intense work, but at the same time to decompress, having different activities.
Hey, just a second. Do you need a EU, Swiss or UK representative? Then choose Easy Medical Device. We can represent you and also become your importer. Contact us at eo@easymedicaldevice.com. Exactly. And at the beginning, because also question in terms of money wise for the project. At the beginning of the projects, were you 100% on this, so you had enough money to, if I can say, eat correctly and have your house and everything, or you had to work also a side job in parallel to what you were doing here?
Oh, yes. I mean, any technical platform is a huge investment. So I rely on some savings. I need to get some, loans as well. And then I have to do some side jobs as well with consulting that I was doing before in order to, for ourselves, to pay, myself and as well to pay, Javi or Pablo that they were, around at the beginning. So I think in terms of money wise, what we learned is to be very disciplined, with the money. But obviously there've been moments where, it was a huge concern. I mean, one of the key things when you fear at the very beginning is first, I run out of money. And second, nobody wants the product, so those are the two things that you always fear, especially at the beginning. But we managed to do that, and we managed with 100 of the ownership as well, right now. So but that's obviously like a huge challenge from my side, because I love what I do. So I didn't have the need to for those years, and I see more like an investment in the long term to have a salary, a high salary, for that. But obviously, as the money was drying up, I was trying to find some, like different type of solutions temporarily, and as well to be humble enough to say, okay, I need to actually find other ways because this is not going, as fast as I imagine, and then just get that, get a bit of like air, and then just obviously after that everything work out. So I think like it's important as well when to make those decisions as well.
So, and also as we talked about hours, we talked also about holidays. Are you able to do holidays without connecting to the project, or you have you are always your head is still connected to the project, or maybe holidays helps also to maybe think out of the box and do something else also with the project. So
I think it depends on the waves where you are. Sometimes you are in that creative wave, and then ideas, even if you are on holidays, I like mountains a lot, I like exercise a lot. So maybe ideas, they are coming when your brain is more relaxed, right? But other times you go on holidays because you actually need to disconnect, because, you feel the weight over so many weeks, and then you need to disconnect. So it depends, obviously, what's the situation at that time. From my side, yes, always holidays. I tend to as well go home, stay around, with my parents as well, just to be, around to help them. And then we go, always, with my family, my brother and, parents, with on holidays together. And as well, I always do my trips. So I'm, I've done a lot of trips all over the world, and I will keep doing that as well. And I think that's very, it helps you as well to see things in perspective, but as well, it inspires you as well to see how to do things and you can get any inspiration for your products or usability or any specific, just traveling about that. But from my side, yes, that's something that I think is necessary. That's why my Saturdays are my mountain day, is my,
okay.
Like hiking day or biking day, because I think it's necessary as well, for your body.
Okay. And maybe also about for this kind of project, maybe as you said, there is a lot of investment, a lot of work, a lot of things. So mainly, what is your biggest fear, if I can say, on this project? You are still on it now, so is there some kind of fear that is still remaining with you? Like, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. So
I don't think there is a specific fear that I wake up every day, but obviously there are always risks. So I think it's how do you manage those risks? I think that the key thing for us as a technology company is always to keep delivering and to have great people. Obviously, we have great people, we will have great delivery. So obviously, in terms of having the key people for delivery, for customer, for type of like sales, I think that's very important for us. So again, it's around the people, and that would be one of my risk in terms of like that I will consider. I think if you asked me this question 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I will give you a bigger list right now. But as I said before, like now having more validated, in terms of our platform with, nearly 150, companies, a really good, retention, and with us that we are now trying to scale. I think that's that the fears are less. I think we are enjoying every day. One thing as well that with the rest of the team, and we always have these honest, conversations. What is the fear and so on. So we keep a lot of communication as well. What are the risks and so on. So from our side, obviously you have always a specific risk that you think it could be important as it could be from your side as well. Being a smaller companies, obviously the human capital is very important,
Exactly.
especially for us to be in that leadership and so on. But as we build, so obviously we will do a great hires and try as well to build or minimize that risk as well.
Are you seeing yourself at a certain point, not out of the project, but maybe at a place where you see the project growing without maybe you being there day to day, or
I don't work that far. What I can tell you right now, I'm enjoying 110% every day of my life right now, working on this project and working closely to the customer. I think like some customers still said, why the CEO is actually
on the
replying
meet?
to my emails with that, and it's like, what was the issue? What are that? How would you do it? Or what feature do you want? I really enjoy that. So I think like from my side, I really enjoy what I do today. Obviously, we are as a humans, we evolve. Our needs are not the same. We are 20, 30, 40 or 50. And obviously, we will adapt to those changes. We have great people, around that they will grow in responsibilities as well. And that's what I want as well with the company. One of the key things is when you start the business, you have a music band where you play every single instrument. And as you evolve as well, so you will give different instruments to different people, and hopefully I can stay with the instrument I like most, or where I feel more valuable or add more value to the company. So I think like today, I don't think what would happen in 5, 10 years in that sense. Obviously, we have our plans, as a company. But for my side, I want to keep doing, what I like, and I enjoy 100%, while we're working today.
And so now, if you look at yourself 6 years ago and now, do you think that you have changed or you have improved in something, or there is something that before you were, yeah, maybe too excited and now you are more wise, or if I can say something like that, like you've become a wise man, something like that. So did this project help you to change yourself or to improve something on yourself, or to make you, like, as you said, mentioned, like before you were afraid of a lot of things, now you are not afraid too much, etc. So did it help you also, like psychologically also?
I think 100% this has been a self-growth, journey, on my side. I learned so many things, and not only myself, with the people around me, and as well with, mentors like, but I had that, it helped me to see things in perspective as well. So I feel like even if I stop doing this tomorrow, that 100% I will not, but one of the key things for me is I would have learned a lot. And as a person, I've grown a lot as well during these years. And I think that's something that nobody can take away, from my side. So that discovery is thinking like in a parallel universe, what could have been my life doing something else that I didn't enjoy. I'm a much better situation as well. And I think all these experiences and, obviously dealing with developing, these type of products, but dealing with people, it helped me a lot, to grow and to see things in a different perspective as well. So, I improve a lot, in terms of so many, areas, in my life. And I would say that it was, thankful to this project that we are building, with great people, because again, if we wouldn't have had the great people around, we wouldn't be here together. So I think that that part is something that is very important for any entrepreneur. Obviously, depending on the outcome, some may say, this may be more like a not very good experience or bad experience. I tend to be a grateful person, so I always learn from the bad as well, or for the bad situation, and think, okay, what can I learn from this? So I think it helped me as well, to be more resilient, but as well to be more grateful of, okay, are we better than last year? Yes. Are we better than last month? Yes. Okay, let's keep moving on that direction, and understanding that everything was, my mentor, like Baha, was sort of like, be patient, and I
Exactly.
was not that patient, that said, yeah, but this, like, especially like you talk about fears, like, for example, like, could be like companies raising a lot of money. I was like, well, that could be a threat for us, and don't worry, that, da da da. And then obviously you see things in perspective, and you build obviously that resilience, and then you sharpen then your game to say, okay, how can I compete? And then you see that what you thought it was a threat actually disappear, because actually they couldn't do so. You get as well more self-confident on the ability on your own team what can do, in terms of the product.
And maybe something also for people that are listening. So, are you also, was there a moment where you are comparing yourself to maybe some competitor or some other people? Or no, you are really focusing on what you are doing. So, are you looking what the others are doing also?
I think everybody monitors what the rest of the companies are doing, especially if there is a. I will tell you one story. For us, like 6 years ago, it was so difficult to sell PMS vigilance. It was so difficult to sell, regulatory intelligence. So thanks that they are now competitors, and they raise money, they invest in educating the industry. We can sell more as well. So, necessarily it's not a bad, situation in that case. We were much worse when nobody was doing. Everybody was like, "Why are you doing that?"
Exactly.
And they were like, "Yeah, but you need to do this, and this will be great for your company," and people will not understand. I think everybody monitors, what others do. Or from our perspective, we always listen to our customers. So when I'm 100%, customers or prospects, but more of the customers, they say, okay, I want this need, I need this, I need this, I need this. So actually, we've been growing, and we don't need a factory of ideas, because they know we can deliver so quickly, and we deliver it, as well on the timelines that we specify to them. They keep requesting things. So we've been focusing more on our customers, because if we focus on our customers, they will tell us what they need. We keep that retention. And when they move, if people move to another company or they have colleagues, they will recommend to other people. So for us, it's more important to see, okay, what are the signs that we see, from our customers? And sometimes you see competition that doing something else and so on. For example, we were the only one, or we are the only one, so far to all-in-one in terms of like country registrations, products information, regulatory intelligence, literature reviews, PMS, and so on. And there were some voices that, oh, that's not going to work because you need to focus on one thing, So as well, like we see what others are doing, but we believe in our own vision. And again, it's integrating, in the same way, all the access to their knowledge and give multiple tools so they can accelerate that process. Why? Because that's having everything all in one. You don't need to do transfer manually. You don't need to teach people how to use 5 different type of softwares, and then you can find very trusted information in just one place. And I think that vision hasn't changed, and that's what we are anchored to right now.
So now that we are here, so as we talk about the actual situation, so MedBoard, you are also going through AI because maybe it's a trend actually to make AI. What's next? Where are you seeing the next thing? Where we what we are expecting for MedBoard to be in maybe 5 years from now?
I think 5 years is too long to understand, especially how technology is changing. But what is very true is the delivery of the speeds of the delivery of knowledge and information is going to be much faster. So the speed is going to increase massively. The processes are going to be more and more automated. Whether there is a specific checkpoints, for the humans to do that, they will be there. So for us to work on again, like keep working on how we can make those or that information much more accessible, connected, because that's one of the things through profiles and other solutions we have. We connect data through different databases and signals. But then, AI, what it's going to do is going to transform the speed of your work. And then one of the key things as well is how we can make those or that technology very usable for people to use it in the right time to be much faster while keeping compliance. And I think that's super important, for everybody. Obviously, we are working on exciting, like products right now, improving products, and obviously in that ecosystem of having multiple solutions. In terms of AI, obviously, we are working with, different type of LLMs or different type of processes that we believe it was going to accelerate or is going to accelerate massively how the processes are going to work. So I think like in terms of the, what, every regulatory professional, clinical professional, or, safety market professional should focus is in education, how to use those tools and accelerate, in terms of how to get the maximum value of those tools. From our side, what we prove is it doesn't matter what's going to happen tomorrow, we will be able to deliver. And we've been able to switch from the previous technology to upgrade to a new technology to now use very advanced AI and so on. So we are very resourceful in terms of like delivery. And I think that's one of the true factors, for my team and in MedBoard, that we are able to deliver and to adapt very quickly as well to the growing needs. But I really believe that the speed of delivery is going to change massively in the future.
And before we talked about you or MedBoard being the Google of medical device, will you create the AI of medical device with your tool also?
We are building it's in beta version right now. Is this like a chat version of it's an LLM chat, so it's called like MedBoard AI for that reason. Yes, we're building that. I think one of the key things as well for people to realize is you can use a database to search specific information. You can use an LLM to do another search for information. So those are tools that will allow people to use for different specific use cases. Sometimes, I think that's why it's required a lot of education, because we see as well in LLM people ask, give me the adverse events of this. Well, for that you just go to the database, you click in the filter, and you have all of them, and you can use a different type of information. So yes, I mean, giving more offering or giving the different tools in for customers is part of our roadmap. What we've seen as well with the new LLM is a huge potential, to help to be a companion. But obviously that requires a lot of engineering, how to retrieve the information, how to ensure, that information is pointing to the right places and so on. One of the key things as well as we work in this industry is for us always to give the citation so they can verify. I believe, especially like AI in our industry, is going to be more like an input than then depending on the person will say, okay, yeah, this is valuable for me, not valuable for me. I see other solutions that we are exploring as well, but we are not very, we are more cautious, like getting the requirements from regulations and getting regulated, from the standards. And this is based on the experience. 15 years working on this. You've seen as well with the UMDR, we're still trying to figure out what Article 6110 means.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter why you plug their AI or any specific, like you have MDCG documents and so on. You don't even know. You call your colleague, what does actually this means? So I think that there will be a more and more stability what these tools can be used for and what is the use case, especially, we've seen already what happened with the last 2 years and where there could be a huge advantage. For example, like for the extraction of PICO or especially literature review, that's a massive thing because instead of spending half a minute or 1 minute of extracting, you just click in, for example, in our tool, and in 1 second you have all that information. So if you multiply that for 1,000 articles, you're just saving, days, and not only days, energy, because one of the things that we track in our platform is job satisfaction. And then we live this. And I always say that when you do that once, searching for regulatory or PMS or literature is very exciting. The second time, a bit less. But when you need to do it 15 times, there is
Exactly.
nothing exciting about it. So,
Nothing.
so it's about reducing that less exciting moments for professionals and putting those professionals in more added value situations.
And I think also the message here is important to say that AI is really something that we have to learn and to get educated for. But I'm not sure that at this stage AI is able to replace us or to replace people that are working with that. As you mentioned, it's a tool. So it's a tool that can help you to accelerate and to do things more quickly. So as you said, maybe even for literature, the AI can help you to read maybe the literature and find a summary and understand what is there and if it can help you to exclude or include in in the literature, whatever. But I experience that a lot. I try to use AI, but it makes a lot of mistakes still. So it's something that where you have to read that again to verify what they are saying, etc. So it's a tool that is really important to learn from. But yeah, use it as a tool, as really a tool to help you to accelerate, as you mentioned, to accelerate, but should not be a tool that you think, oh, you just put that in there and you receive everything and then you just send without looking at it, without checking, etc. I mean, I don't know if it will be able to do that in the future, but for the moment, it's not really ready for that.
I think we all need to, to recognize that we work in environments that they are highly complex. They require a lot of context, and you require a lot of judgment. And then for that, the decisions are multi inputs as well. So it's not like one decision, and two people can make two different decisions, and both are equally fine as well. What our message, from our side is very similar on that is this is not a magic wand. This is a tool
Exactly.
that we use. If you don't know how to use a tool, we've seen that many times like people come to us say, "Oh, that's your software. You can click a button and have a systematic literature review completely finished." Like, no, this is not how it works because you still need to use the plan. How you're going to review it? How are you going to? So the person that gives the perspective as well, the intention is the person. I would say that intelligence is always in the question, not in the answer. So it's understanding how you're going to use those tools and what you're going to ask, for those. But even you've seen, you've been involved in so many audits, conformity assessments, and so on. Using in those environments is quite difficult many times because, sometimes you receive a question that you don't even understand what it means. Because there is no like context or maybe it hasn't been expressed very, very well. So I think it will make progress, but I think we need to be cautious. And one of the things that, as well that people like about what we do is we are not doing fireworks, making wild claims and so on. So we are very realistic on what can I do, and we are still very like let's say innovative because we are pulling this LLM, for the whole MedTech that and pharma, that we are the only one doing that right now, right? So we are still pushing the limits, but we are being factually, hey, this is just for this tool, this you use that. But especially in one of the things that I always emphasize as well is when you learn more as a human is when you make more decisions. So if we let the machines to do those decisions, who's going to keep learning? Who's going to keep, making the right calls and so on? And it's very important as well to understand that morals, ethics in the medical industry are so important. And that depends, is a very humanly thing as well. And the more decisions, the more reviews that a person does, the more that person evolves as well in terms of learning. Like just to do an analogy, imagine that to arrive here, all the decisions were made by a machine. I would have learned zero. So I would
Exactly.
be like not able to to continue from here. So I think like the one of the key things is to understand how to use these tools, and it's very true that we see as well sometimes very wild claims of what can I do. But I think the industry, the professionals, eventually they put in the right place whether it's useful or not useful, for the use case.
Exactly, and I remember I recall a discussion also with my wife about AI because I said if now kids are born with AI, and they are already really using AI mainly, I'm not sure they will be training their brain to think I said because for them it's like I give the thing, he give me the answer without me searching or thinking whatever, etc. And at the end, sometime also I'm afraid that the company that is creating this AI will also put some bias on the AI so that it will guide our thinking. Like, if I ask me this, I will give you the right answer. This guy is bad, this guy is good, while maybe it's not true. It's just that, yeah, we have still to think from ourselves and use those as tools and learn from it. But yeah, as you mentioned, we have to learn and we have to promote learning and promote people that can still take their own decision instead of asking a machine. Maybe one day we'll wake up in the morning and we'll just say, oh, what kind of shirt I should put or what kind of shoes I should put, and say, oh, today put the blue ones, oh, today put I mean, maybe arrive at this point, but yeah,
It may
maybe
happen
this is
soon, yes. For that, I think I think for those decisions are fine, maybe because it's more, it doesn't affect, companies or customers, patients and so on. I think the medical industry is always more conservative in adopting these
yeah, true.
technologies, and from our side, we get a lot of questionnaires, we get a, like in terms of audits and thorough assessments as well, and I think that's good because they understand what they get into. They can see as well what is behind, what is the models we use, what is the intention behind, and so on. But obviously, as we use those, in terms of the whole industry, that technology, obviously there will be other questions arise. I think because obviously it's getting more mainstream, the education is getting higher, obviously. And I think one of the key challenges again is education. And like if I look at my parents, obviously they cannot use AI in the same way as someone with 10 years will be used. So you raise as well very important questions. Who is going to be the productivity as well in terms of that? But as then there are other concerns as well. Like you see more senior people will be much more productive. So maybe like it just affects more like younger people trying to get into a job. But I think everybody, if using the right tools, will get benefit from that. So I think like again, like I think education to use those tools and to use digital tools, I think it's a big barrier as well for medical organizations in terms of like having the right no education to understand what is the return of investment, but change the ways they've been doing that for the last 10, 20 years, or even the last 5 years. But I think as it becomes more, changes take a lot of time. Sometimes we believe like a new technology in 1 year, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of like education, training, understanding the risk, understanding the benefits. And I think we are still at that phase, and understanding for all the stakeholders what is the real value as well. From our side, what we see is there are key cases where there's an immense value because extracting the information or summarizing the information or comparing information, is a huge case. But for making decisions, I think that's a much more complicated human topic, in terms of especially medical, when a bad decision can just, mean, something wrong on the market with a product, with a patient, or, in terms of the company.
Great. So I think we covered all the questions that I wanted to ask you, and really thank you for the honesty and also the openness to really share those things, because I hope really that this will help people that are really willing to go through that route. But just, do you have some last words maybe for those people that want to go to such project? Maybe they want to create a same kind of project or tool. So do you have some advice or last words or maybe some wise words for them?
I think everybody has to follow their own passion. One thing that happened to me, several times is people they did a demo with me and then they started a company that was similar. Or so I'm happy to have inspired as well people in that sense. I think the more solutions that we build in this space as well, the more awareness we will get into the market, and as well the better solutions we will push each other in terms, to have better solutions, for professionals, but as well for patients. So I think that everybody has their own journey. So I feel like for me, I could give
Exactly.
advice about why I lived on my side. But if people have the passion to do it, I think they just go for it. I think that's and never give up if that's really the passion, like, and to keep going. I think that you are a great case of that, like your
Exactly.
consistency, like
You
all of that.
remember 5 years ago, I mean, we had this discussion. I was not a consultant. I was still working at Johnson & Johnson. And where we had this discussion, and one word that you say you have to jump. And it's like
Yeah.
jumping. And now I remember that, like, yeah, I jumped, and to be honest, I don't regret at all also myself. So it's why I really am happy of all that.
And I think, we can use that advice. I think when you jump, you learn something. For because some people they start and they realize it's not their thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Because when I started the business, I was with someone else that I said, "Oh, I will join," and it was it didn't work for that person, because like, okay, I'm not ready for all this startup environment and how hard it is. So I think it's very important as well to realize when you jump and then actually that's not your thing. So but if it's your thing, you need to keep going and just finding out as you
Yeah,
did.
find out early, so not late. If I can say, just find as quick as possible that it's not your
Yes.
thing, so that you can go back to normal instead of losing time and yeah, maybe thinking of it for maybe many years while you have not tried at all. Because I suppose I have some people that maybe regret to not create their own company and regret to not maybe have made the entrepreneurship. But maybe yeah, sometime as I said, sometimes it's not really for some people. So it's why.
I think it depends really, Monir, and you probably pretty sure that you know this. It depends with your personality and what you value in terms of like what aligns with your personality. So not everybody's made for sacrificing certain areas or to focus on those specific skills and so on. So it's not for everybody. And as well, it's very hard, especially at the beginning. So we always say like about this jump. Obviously, I guess for you starting, it was. I remember like, oh, you want to do a podcast? Like, yeah, okay, let's do. Okay, I will go there. Like just to because I understood how difficult it is to get the first one. As we
Exactly.
discussed, when at the very beginning. But I think it has to align with the person, and I think everything you do every day you need to work and say get up and say, yeah, I'm enjoying doing this. If you don't know enjoying, there's something that because even in the worst times, for us, I always enjoy it. I said, actually I'm liking this adventure. So I think that that's something that is very important for people to realize whether they're enjoying it or they are not happy with that.
Exactly. No, it's great. So thank you very much, Ivan. It was really a pleasure. Again, thank you for this openness and honesty. So I will put again on the show notes your information, the information also of MedBoard, if people wants to also go and see the platform. And as you said, maybe maybe people will contact you and maybe ask you also maybe advices for their new projects. So I hope this will be helpful also for them. So Ivan, really thank you very much, and I wish you then a nice day.
Thank you so much, Monir, for having me. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.